Manmeet Sandhu is a master's from the College of Art here in Chandigarh, and essentially a painter who likes to probe a lot of new concepts in her works and likes to experiment with a lot of new materials and create new works with different subjects. Here she'll talk about what she's doing right now. A freelance artist, she's an integral part of this art workshop and is creating an absolutely brand new work for the workshop. So here we'll talk to her about what's driving her in the workshop. Hi Manmeet. You are essentially a painter, and you described that you would like to experiment a lot with materials and new materials, and concept is what drives your work. So, but before we get down to your work, let's talk a little about yourself. Where have you been, and your journey so far as an artist, and what has made you the artist that you are today from the very beginning to now?
Well, I've been brought up in Delhi, born and brought up in Delhi, and I had my academic training in painting.
Okay.
So I did my bachelor's in painting, I did my master's in painting, but during my master's only, I kind of started experimenting with lots of materials.
Okay.
So instead of painting on the canvas, I was using canvas as a material to make lots of 3D forms, and I was cutting and ripping up the canvas and stitching it again and all that jazz. So I think by the time I finished my masters, I was totally, I would say, off painting in a way. I was not painting on the canvas anymore.
Right.
Though my installations or my so-called structures or forms which I was composing, they were not separate from the wall. They were still stuck onto the wall, but they had a 3D dimension, and they were kind of moving out in the space.
Okay.
Exploring space. And since Chandigarh was a new town for me, and buying material and looking for material was like an issue, so I started using whatever I was getting. I was using all the poly bags which I was using, which I was saving in my hostel room, the plastic bottles.
Okay.
Then I moved on to plastic sheets, which again I had lots of them since I was getting things from Delhi in plastic bags only. Then I was using food material. I mean, I started using food materials to work because the food in the hostel was not good. So I started using that in my work. And amazingly, it never got eaten by anything. Well, it was there. It never decomposed.
Okay.
I mean, I still have parathas from my hostel, which are still there in my work.
Interesting.
And they never got decomposed. I don't know why. So I'm like kind of worried also. And I think my final year master work was conceptually I was driven towards feminism.
Okay.
During my masters, probably because I was staying in a girls' hostel, and then Chandigarh has, or probably North India has a way of looking at women, which for the first time I realized and I faced since I was living on my own. So conceptually the work went towards feminism. Materially it went towards perishable and ephemeral material, like I was using prawns, I was using dirt, grass, etc.
Okay.
So that has continued. It has always been an integral part of my work, but throughout the years I've always also moved towards public intervention, which I tried once or twice. I also dabbled in animation, stop motion animation, and also did a little bit of graphics, which is the concept which is more important, and I think medium or material becomes secondary for me. So that's about it.
So what are your essential subjects now? You talked about feminism. If you could talk about a few works which used absolutely radical material, but said the same thing or talked about feminism in different ways. If you could describe a few works which would tell us how you use these materials to voice different concerns about feminism. When we talk about feminism, it could be oppression, it could be feticide, it could be just mental harassment. So what were these things that went around you which got transported onto the canvas, and how did different materials express such serious tones to yourself as well as to your audience?
Okay. I think like one of my works during MFA was inspired by an article which I read in Reader's Digest. And it was about female circumcision, which is very rampant in Africa and Northern Africa especially. So I had used canvas to actually sew a pair of pants which were larger than life. But they were like they were not like full length pants. I mean, they were chopped off from the knees, and they were like tightly as a closed from all the areas. I mean, only the upper area was open.
Right.
And there were scratches on the leg area, which had the canvas was ripped and then it was stitched again. And the the pants were actually stuffed with dirt, mud and dirt, and there was grass growing on top from it, on the top.
Okay.
So that was a real grass. And then I had used prawns, which were kind of climbing up, real prawns, which were climbing up the legs of the structure. So I was like using ephemeral material, but then I was also commenting on feminism and all. And I had also made this work again using prawns. I mean, prawns were kind of the material which I was dabbling in. I had made a huge plastic, larger than life plastic, lingerie, women lingerie, and it was stuffed with prawns again. Because prawns, they all,
what do they mean to you in your work?
Prawns, I mean, they have like, I don't know, I mean, the tactile quality is like pretty, it's pretty delicate. There is also a sort of ickiness to it, since,
slimy.
And I'm a vegetarian. So, and moreover, the prawns, after I use them in my work, I realized that they also kind of, symbolize a phallic imagery. So, but that was after I had used them. I had only wanted to use them for their tactile quality and the fact that they are transparent and they look more real-like and flesh-like in the food items.
Right.
And which are like easily available.
Right.
So that was like, there were lots of other works which were like abstracts, again hinting at feminism only, some or the other aspect of a woman's identity in the society. But like this particular work was talking about the male gaze which a woman has to face, and the, we cannot, we judge ourselves and our physical dimensions by a male's gaze.
Yes.
And even women do that to other women.
Yes.
So basically that was what I was hinting at.
Yes.
So I mean, these are the two works which I were which were pretty loud, I thought. And they were abstracts as well, but again dwelling in the same theme.
Right. So has your theme also changed over the years of work, and the subjects also changed, or no? It remains integral to your work, the theme of feminism, or has it changed with you growing as an artist and with you changing as a woman, if I may say so, because we grow. And what used to bother us 5 years back as women, it seems immaterial now, especially the male gaze.
What are you saying? I'm back in Chandigarh and I realize that it's still there. So, feminism is still there in my work. I mean, I'm still very much passionate about the topic. So, in one way or the other, it will be there. I think the outlook has become more matured. My work is not as direct and loud as it was used to. It is more abstract, and somehow it has also become more Zen-like. I started using Japanese food decoration and all in my work. So I still use ephemeral materials. I still use the imagery which is associated with a woman.
Right.
But it has become more peaceful in my presentation. But I think the passion is still there. But the pain has become more silent and it has become more cold.
Okay.
Because you get used to it. You cannot keep screaming all your life. So as I was saying. But and apart from feminism, I think I've also become more aware of my identity as an individual in the society.
Okay.
So the social context of my existence has started bothering me more.
Has started bothering you more?
Yeah, I'm more conscious about my existence in the society. So I mean, earlier it was like, I used to live in a bubble. I mean, I think most of us do live in a bubble. But now it's more like I can feel, like I am a part of the society. So where do I stand? So I'm more conscious about it.
Okay.
But
is it different? Are you different from society because you're an artist?
No, I don't consider myself different. But
I mean, your sensibilities, your approach to how things are around you, does it seem a little distant because you're an artist, and does it reflect in your work?
I won't say distant, but it's just that we are more sensitive to whatever is happening around us. And since as an artist we get a lot of time to contemplate, and our work includes a lot of contemplation, and we get lots of time to think in peace, we have to, if we want to create a work. So it gives us more time to think about things which are happening around us, and it gives us more time to reflect upon them. So whether to evaluate them or just not judge them or not to judge them.
Right.
Whatever. So
Manmeet, you had mentioned in the beginning of the conversation about public intervention in your work. So what does that exactly mean, and how does it translate, and what does it mean?
Public intervention is more like it is in a way performance only, but it is like when you go out in a public space and you intervene with whatever is happening there.
Right.
You intervene in the routine, or you intervene in the events of that particular public space. So I have done, I think I've done 2 public interventions. One we did last year in Ahmedabad, and we consciously wanted it to happen in a market area. And but market area also, they have obviously there are different market areas, and they represent different social aspects.
Yes.
So we बोले तो ऐसा, I was doing it with some other group of artists. So all of us were like doing some sort of public intervention of our own, but the rest of the team was supporting them in some way or the other. So I did this thing on selling hunger. Basically, my idea was to comment on the status of hunger in the world. That is, on one hand, there are people who are actually hungry and have no food, and then on other hand, there are people who are trying to curb their hunger because for some frivolous reason, or probably some medical reason also.
Right.
So there are like 2 extremes: people who have lots and lots of it, and people who have nothing. It's like
Right.
So, and there are people who want to be hungry also. I mean, they are so trapped in the rat race that they don't even know what hunger is all about.
Yes.
So it was basically a comment on that, a satirical comment on that. So what I did, we went to this marketplace in Ahmedabad. It was like a slightly upscale market, but near a temple on a Mahashivratri day, so everybody was fasting. And we established a stall, and we were planning, we were planning to sell hunger, which we did in a way that we, instead of selling food, we were just selling food aromas. So we had a poster behind us which said that we are selling hunger, and I was cooking up food aromas there. We had a stove. We borrowed a thela from as a baju ka thela wala, and we had food items and all. But we were only cooking them to release food aromas instead of food, and then we bottled those whatever food aromas in those itr bottles, and we thought we would try to sell it. But amazingly, people actually started coming to us on their own, and there was this gentleman who actually said कि मुझे भूख नहीं लगता है, क्या करूं Ben, and he ordered for 5 bottles, and we thought it would be a joke, and probably people would understand what we are doing. It was more like a spoof, and he actually paid us $100 and give me the bottles wala scene, and we were like stranded, so we just wanted people to realize our concept and people to understand and react to it. But people actually started coming to us and buying those bottles and all, and we made a good And then we reduced the price of our bottles. So we started selling them for 1 rupee each. But still we made 15 rupees and somebody gave us 100 rupees. So we made a lot of money that day. But it was cool to interact with the public. I don't know whether the project was a success or not, because later on we tried to explain people that what we are doing and we wanted to come clean and all. There were few people who supported us. They understood our idea and they took it with good spirit. But then there were people who were like slightly offended. So then we repeated the same performance again at some other market at night, which is like a street food market there. So we went there, and there the crowd was totally different. It was, I would say people who are not from very up class or whatever, normal people, and people who are usually working really hard at day and they only have night time to eat and explore. So there the reaction was completely opposite of what we had experienced in the daytime, and people were angry with us for wasting their time. Though we just had a stall, we put up a stall near the market only, and we were not pulling or dragging somebody. But then they were curious. They wanted to know what we were doing, and there were lots of guys who started coming, and then the conversation went some other direction. But again, it was interacting with people, and we realized where art stands and what people feel. Those people were actually the one who could feel hunger. They had lived through it. So we had a very different reaction from them, and I think it was more like a learning process. We realized what was happening, and we realized what art actually meant and what role it has in the society.
Right.
And then we also had very weird conversation, like people coming to us who wanted this recipe for their itr, because we were using lots of non-Indian masalas and spices. So then again, it was more like an interaction and more like a dialogue, which we had till 1:30 in the morning, and with the public, whom we were not, we were not comfortable with or whatever. We didn't even know them.
Right.
So, but still, it was a nice experience for me. So, I'd like to do it again, and probably I will. This is something which really intrigues me, and I think people have started, doing things which are not only for the gallery in India.
Right.
And these things, I think they are very important right now for art to live.
What do you take back as an artist from these public dialogues or conversations or experiences? Does it enhance your approach towards the subjects, towards your treatment, towards your materials? What kind of new thought does it give you, this public intervention?
Since I am more into concepts,
right.
So for me it was just a concept.
Okay.
Through nothing. Usually you express your concept through a medium, through some painting or sculpture or anything. So it was me there with my concept, selling it to people. So it was like totally direct interaction.
Right.
I am not a very extrovert person. I love to live in my bubble. And for me to get out there and interact with people and to put forth my idea directly, I think in a way it was very satisfying. I knew and I realized that I was in the same wavelength, on the same wavelength as rest of us, and I also realized that as an artist, I need to be close to other people.
Right.
And by other people, I do not mean as people who come to the gallery or anything, but I need to be close to common people. Even I am a commoner, and I need to be there. I am from there. My roots are there.
Right.
I cannot pretend to sit in a room and do something which will never go out.
Right.
So, and it probably will hang on somebody's work. It won't give me any satisfaction, and I am not for that. That made me feel important, man. Though it was nothing, it meant nothing to anybody, but that moment was like you felt alive. You were like there, out there,
So tell me, you were talking about you reaching out to the common person and selling things. So what made you feel this need to do that? You know, to a vegetable vendor or to a milkman or to a Karyana shop owner, which they also do exactly. You know, they also sell
exactly.
things.
Yeah.
So what was that innate desire, or what, as an artist, or as you say, you wanted to be part of them? So what was that innate desire, because they also doing the same?
See, basically, not as an artist, but as a human being, I love expressing myself through visual representations, be it of any kind,
Right.
painting or sculpture or whatever, performance or anything. I think we all live a very isolated life, and we don't get to mingle a lot with other people until and unless we are celebrities or we are politicians. So I want to express, and I have an idea and I want it to reach people.
Right.
And I don't want it to be, or I don't only want it to reach 100 or 150 people who visit a gallery.
Right.
I also wanted to reach to people whom I can, who are a part of my life. Yeah, I probably won't know a buyer, but I would be, more acquainted with a sabji wala, because you would see him every day.
Interact with
yeah,
him.
exactly. And that is my world. That gallery thing happens like once a year, man. And that is my world. Somebody else's wall is not my home. Though I would not mind if he's paying money or whatever. But yeah, I mean, no, that is my world. I want my world to relate to me, and I want me to relate to my world.
Right.
That would, it's like, my roots, yeah. I want to be there. That is the world where I was born from, and that is the world where I can exist and survive as a human being. This is what I feel personally. So that is why I thought it was important for me to go out there and interact with people, or with people who are images of people I meet every day, or people who are actually people I meet every day.
Right. And so does this new relationship, or this new rapport, or this old relationship convey something new in your work in the near future, or did it convey something new in your work, or did it change the way how your piece of work looked or piece of art looked?
I think the most important thing I realized is, that everybody is very intelligent and everybody has a very different way of interpreting the work. So the first thing I should stop doing is interpreting my work or explaining or describing my work verbally, because everybody has a different interpretation and I should respect it, as I don't know about others. And I realize that people are sensitive and they are very sensitive to things. It's just that the gap which we are creating, or the gap which the life which we are living is creating amongst us, is making things a little cold.
Okay.
So I think what I took from that experience was lots of sensitivity. And lots of this understanding ki everybody has some intellect. I don't always have to be direct, and I can take the liberties I want to in my work.
Okay. So that gives you that reassurance.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Somebody will understand,
Yes.
and somebody or everybody will understand, but they're in their own
interpretation.
Exactly.
Right.
So it kind of renews my faith, in the humanity. It has the world has more to it than goons. As a pilfering a gallery or something.
And what we see is there's much more than what we see
exactly.
with our eyes.
And it is like, you start seeing the world in a closer focus. So it's like things are there. Everything is not blurred.
Yes.
So it just feels more alive. And
so is performance art, or is interactive art, as you are doing it now, more satisfying for you as an artist?
Yeah, it is definitely more satisfying, but it is also very demanding. It gives you jitters to go out there, because you can be
because there's no set script that you have.
Yeah, exactly. And so it can flop, and people can hit you.
Yes.
People can, I don't know, they can whatever. They can do whatever.
Right.
They have lots of power, and you realize it the moment you stand there.
Yes.
You realize that everybody. You feel so vulnerable. And so you have to be like really confident in yourself and whatever idea you are expressing. and you feel amazingly vulnerable. I've never felt that way, and you feel very sensitive. It's like every cell in your body starts tingling. Types. It was a very different feeling, but I enjoyed it.
Great. So tell us a little about the work that you're doing here as part of the multimedia art workshop, and how have you designed and conceptualized it, and what will be your presentation?
This again is a very it's a concept oriented work. It is just illustrated by this video. Basically, the concept is the world is flat. I am bourgeois. Again, underlining my middle class status, or my my tussle with it, or whatever, which is an ongoing thing, and also a satirical take on the fact that we have bounded, especially the middle class, we have bounded ourselves in so many rules and so many conditions, and we live a life which is, as a driven by so many rules and so many invisible things, like invisible yardsticks. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's just that you are born, you are supposed to go to a school, then you are supposed to go to a college, and then you are supposed to wear clothes like this, and you are then supposed to get married. Yeah. And supposed to have it. Everything is supposed. It's like it is preconceived. It is presupposed.
You do it in this way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And most of us do it.
Yes.
One way or the other.
Yeah, we follow that.
Exactly. And people who don't, then they are like
outcasts.
They are outcast, or I think they themselves as a feel, we did something. Yeah. Very few of us are like bold enough to rebel, and if they rebel, then again they are outcasts. So the statement states that, and it is illustrated by an egg rolling on a ruler, a wooden ruler. It as it rolls towards the other end, it increases in size, and then it topples over and crashes. So it is nothing but an anticlimax. I mean, you just see an egg rolling and then crashing. I mean, it has nothing. There is hardly any drama. The egg just pauses on the edge and all, and then the moment the egg falls, the statement comes. So it is just like our lives. We get born, and then we live our life without making a mark, or we just live through it without even feeling it, and then we just die. So it is like, and lots of us do that. It's like there are so many of us. We are, every second there is a kid, and then you are born and you die, and you. I have some existentialist crisis also. So it's like, what is the meaning of this? Yeah, you get born and then you are dead. So I think the whole concept is about that only.
Okay.
So it questions, it is like an ironic comment, and it also accepts that I am too weak to rebel. I am living this rule, but we all are living this rule. So come join my party. So it's a boring life.
Right.
That's about it. So it's basically driven by concept only.
And how does your audience look at your works? Does it ever bother you that you're doing your own work and you're using different materials and have subject matters which are close to your heart? Does it ever bother you that maybe you don't fit the bill as a conventional artist, or do you are you comfortable in your skin as it's all right, you're following your heart and doing your own thing? Or is sometimes commerce and what is going around you in terms of trends affect your work or influence your work?
That I consciously try to avoid, that is trends or whatever. But then obviously that technology is, I don't think it's a trend or whatever. It is there and it has filtered through our lives also. We all have cell phones and whatever.
It's an integral part now.
So this I think continuously happens, but not by the market trend. That is a little bit. And as far as the viewers are concerned, if you exhibit in a gallery, or usually you show your works to people who are already acquainted with art. So they come with a perception, and again there are people who come with a preconceived notion, and then there are people who are open-minded. So it's a very weird thing. I had people who really appreciate the experimentation I am doing, but then at the end of the conversation they ask they usually ask a question ki, what do you think is the future of this kind of art, and where do you think it is going to land you in financial terms? So
And what is your answer?
yeah, so I say that I am working, so I can obviously take my financial help from my employment, and I try to keep two separate lives and all. I mean, I don't know. I am what I am, and yeah, economics do matter to me. I obviously need money to survive, but I am trying very hard not to let that influence my work.
Okay.
Though it does, in the fact that my material has become more ephemeral, that I've started using things from my kitchen, I've started using things which are already there in my house, though the work does not last for much time, but it gives me more satisfaction that I am not, I am not doing something which is out of nature's context. Exactly. I am not trying to create something immortal. There is work, it grows, it rots, and then it vanishes.
Yes.
So it gives me more satisfaction.
Interesting.
Yeah. So.
And what is your latest, apart from the art workshop work, something else that you're working on as a project, or as something that you feel that needs to be done, something that's within you for a very long time and needs to come out?
Right now, as I'm also working on another stop motion animation which deals with child abuse. It is based on this story or poem which we all learn in our nursery, which is Machli Jal Ki Rani Hai. So it just has another twist at the end. After the line which says Bahar Nikalo Mar Jayegi, it has two more lines. It says Kukar mein dalo pak jayegi and muh mein dalo khai jayegi. I think I picked it up from Chandigarh only, because I've never heard this in Delhi. So I'm just illustrating that, and the movie is almost made, just waiting for editing. And then I'm also working on this interactive work which will be displayed next month in a particular gallery. The work again has it has like a social statement which is being highlighted. It consists of fish in a bag. It consists of fish in a bag, and that bag has a hole in it, from which the water will keep dripping on a tin can. It will keep making noise, and there is another bag tied to the fish bag, which has black fluid in it, dirt probably, as a muck, dirty water, which will keep dripping on the can at the same point.
Okay.
So it's to keep that fish alive is the responsibility of the viewer. So they have to keep pouring water in it if they want the fish to live. So though I'm not very sure how many people will take interest, but I'm just hoping that it will work at least for a few hours, if not for the entire duration. So this is what exactly, my future project, something which I'm already doing.
Great. That's great. Thanks, Manvi. It was great speaking to you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Same. Bye.